What's going on again, my lovely people? Back once again. This month went by fast. It's starting to get cold outside too. That's how you know daylight savings. Oh yeah. But to bring up the last part of this year of 2025, it hasn't been a year. I don't know about y'all, but for me, it has been a trying and revealing year for myself. So for this month's episode, got a real special one. Okay, but this episode was inspired by a conversation I had with one of my classmates at TSU in my counseling uh, program, right? So this episode is titled "The Endurance Olympics." All right, trust me, I'm going through it with this. All right, because just thinking back and seeing how life come full circle, it made me kind of put things in perspective on what that really means. Now, for me, what it means is that um, I've been enduring trauma or just things that happen in life, right? Whether it be good or bad or indifferent, right? But it's how you internalize it. And I know since I was 9 years old, I remember my dad telling me, you know, you the man in the house now, make sure you take care of your family and your moms, and at 9 years old, when I say I can take y'all to the very spot he told me that, matter of fact, it was on the Fiesta of South Post Oak. I can take to the very spot he told me that, right? So but I internalized it, right? But of course, at 9 years old, you don't know what that really means or what to do with that. So I found myself just going through life, taking bumps and bruises, and taking my lumps and everything. But that's all I was doing. I was just taking it. Okay, yeah, I kind of see where I'm going with this, the endurance Olympics. I was just taking it. Didn't know what else to do. I just knew the old adage: "What don't kill you make you stronger." Right. So in my mind, well, it didn't kill me, so I guess I can keep going. Right. Well, not necessarily, because it wasn't until my last round of counseling that I had a serious and most needed breakthrough. Right now, what I mean is, so before I got introduced into EMDR, which is the technique that was used in my session to help unlock like the trauma and then release and let go. Right, so it was definitely eye opening experience, because up until that point, um, yeah, I was just taking hits, taking the lumps, and yeah, it didn't kill me. So let's keep it pushing. So to equate it, right, to make it make sense, it's like you get into a fight or get into an accident or some kind of physical traumatic event, right? But you find that you survived it. Oh, okay, that was a bad accident. I got into a bad fight, but it didn't kill me, right? So instead of you do what you're supposed to do, get medical attention, you just go off the strength of, okay, it didn't kill me, so or I can keep going, right? And you can, right? You can in a sense, but eventually over time you will succumb to those injuries if they're not treated properly or treated at all, right? So that's how I kind of put it together as far as the endurance Olympics, right? Because I thought I was playing the game the right way, and I wasn't. I wasn't getting the gold medals in the endurance Olympics because I wasn't taking care of the wounds. I wasn't taking care of the lumps. I wasn't putting ice on it. I wasn't putting heat on it. I wasn't putting neosporin on it or alcohol or peroxide, right? So that's kind of how I'm correlating this to emotions and mental health, right? But up until 9 years old, that's all I knew. That's all I knew. And you don't know what's bothering you until it really becomes an issue. And I think Well, no, I know that 2022, yeah, is when it's like, okay, I need a breakthrough. I need some medical assistance, right? Because yeah, I suffer these bumps and bruises, but they're not healing. They're starting to get worse. Matter of fact, right? Um, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, what's really going on? So, so in comes my last iteration of therapy, and the things that I suffered, the trauma. I mean, it's still there, obviously, but you just never really know how much it affects you present day until you uncover it and like stare it in the face, right? So after a couple of sessions, my counsel was like, "Do you want to try EMDR?" Which is a eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Okay, so it's a technique that they use for rhythmic tapping, right? And then I like eye movement where you follow the light, you know, and they have you replay or bring up the traumatic events or memories and everything, right? That's in a nutshell, right? I'm not an expert, I plan to be though. I plan to specialize in the MDR, but in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I went through in my counseling sessions, right? So in doing so, right, and of course being open, right, and willing, doing this technique, um, it changed my life, and I swear by it, and I would tell anybody about this EMDR technique because what he had me do was go back to my 9-year old self. But that's where it all started, right? The whole protecting and uh, man of the house, and you got to be good for everybody else and put it all on your shoulders, right? Of course, pretty much without saying it, that's what I got from it. When it was told to me about my dad, right? So because I was the oldest male in my family, when my dad left. I had two younger brothers, a baby sister, and I had an older sister. So I took that literally and I took it seriously. So, wow, y'all, when I tell y'all, I never knew that my 9-year old self had that much of a chokehold on me. And what I mean by that is I hit a wall in life, trying to persevere through and just keep going without, getting proper attention or assistance, right? And I hit a wall when it came down to my the custody of my children and that whole debacle, that whole thing, right? And I found myself almost at a mental break, that like pretty much saying that you can't go no more, Nelson. Something has to give. So I try to just you know push through. Like since I was 9 years old, we became homeless, and we had to push through and not tell nobody nothing, and then act like everything's normal, right? So I took on that mentality for my whole adult life. So what he had me do was to go back to doing the EMDR process, and to go back and talk to my 9-year old self, right? And let my 9-year old self that pretty much you have been relieved of duty. It's okay to be a kid. You didn't know what you was getting yourself into. You didn't know what you was doing. You know, pretty much just relinquishing my 9-year old self to be like, it's okay, Nelton. You're grown now. You survived. Now it's time to thrive, right? And when I tell y'all that was so powerful, I started crying like uncontrollably because I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know that I was going to feel that way. I didn't know it was going to be that type of experience, right? So that's why you definitely got to consult with a professional because it will drudge up some real traumatic and hurtful things, right? But it's to get you through, right? So um, I recommend it, but definitely consult with your counselor or therapist because it may not be for everybody, but it was perfect for me. It changed my life. It changed my life. And so, yeah, I cried for like, I think 10 minutes, I think, you know. And then after that, I felt lighter, right? I felt like a sense of relief, like an actual relief of duty, right? And from that moment, from that session, it unlocked like a whole new side of me, like to where, like I said, I don't have to be Superman anymore. I can be an actual human being, like everybody else that I help or talk to or be around, and not feel any type of ways about it. So that was the beginning of kind of what y'all see today and the vulnerability that I'm able to have, you know, online or when people see me in person, right? Because I was so guarded to where I got to be strong for everybody. And I'm the example. So if I'm weak, then people gonna start to panic, or people not gonna, believe, or So I had that type of complex, right? And it had to be shattered. It had to be. It had to be. There was no other way around that because I reached my tipping point during the custody battle, my daughters and stuff, and about to retire from the Marine Corps too as well. So these events that I haven't been accustomed to have been stresses in my life that revealed some very important things to me. And I was just like, yeah, I gotta get the counseling and sort this out. But the thing is with that, people, you got to be open and willing though. Just going to counseling, just say you're going to counseling, that ain't it. Okay. You got to go to counseling open and willing to do the work. All right. Not some of the work, not a piece of work, all of the work. And then once you start doing the work, continue to do the work. Because it's not a one time thing, a one and done. I can tell you that right now. I'm still working on myself. I'm still going off of the gains I got from that last session in the EMDR to keep myself in check, to keep myself grounded, keep myself balanced. It is a full time, 24/7, no days off type of work. And that's why people are scared of it. That's why people shy away from it. And that's why people don't get better. Because again, it's not going to play with you. Right. So as I'm matriculating through my master's program in counseling, clinical mental health counseling, and with my classmates, we talk about different theories and different approaches and stuff like that. And EMDR has always stuck out to me because one, I've been through it personally, and I've seen the result of how it changed my life. And I'm only one person, so just imagine what it can do for the masses. For people who are looking to be better. Not everybody's looking to be better, right? Some people enjoy the endurance Olympics on the fact of I'm a victim or something's happening to me, something always happening to me, right? Um, so that's why it's important to understand what's yours to carry, what's yours to take care of, and what is not, right? But could nobody run my Olympics for me, right? And the thing is, yeah, I may have been projecting to being strong as I was going through the trauma in my life or the terrible times in my life, but at the end of the day, it was taking a lot out of me, little by little, right? And the only person who could really see it was me, because I have to sit with myself. I can put on facade all day, but when it comes to me, I know what's really going on, and it was up to me to say something and to address it and acknowledge it. Okay, so that, whew, that changed my life. So that's why I was able to come up on this YouTube channel and start being consistent and being open about my emotions, my life, and what it looks like to work through them. To be stuck sometimes, to contemplate, you know, to get better, to kind of backslide a little bit from things that was taught to me through counseling. But again, we're not perfect, right? And we'll never be perfect. But at the same time, as long as we're striving to be the best version of ourselves, then every day will be a good day, as far as I'm concerned. But my 9-year-old self, believe it or not, had the chokehold on my adult self, and that was a cause of the pretty much the suffocation that I was going through. Right, it was pretty much like I was just losing oxygen. Right, the oxygen tank, had decreased in percentage. That was me before I went to counseling and got the EMDR uh, technique done, and I don't regret it. I wasn't scared. I was more so curious. if I'm being honest, right? Because you hold this trauma and stuff like that for so long, and it's like, what can be worse than what I've been through, right? That's how I looked at it, right? So hopefully this video would have more people look into counseling, therapy, and EMDR for people who suffer trauma and just can't shake it, or have tried like different therapies and different techniques and haven't tried EMDR. Hopefully this will shed some light for you to go look and research this technique and to see if it'd be a good fit for you, because it was for me. And I was definitely surprised at myself and how I responded to the technique and what came of it, right? Because again, you go in with no expectations, because it's something new. There's something that you don't even know about, right? But you have a professional telling you, okay, this might, from what we talked about, from what what I've seen, this might work for you. This might be a good thing for you, right? So you're going off of that professional's recommendation, right? So you put a lot of trust in your therapist and your counselor, right? So, and I'm glad I did. Um, and I plan to be one of those counselor therapists that can guide people in the right direction as well. So this EMDR technique has inspired, my learning in my uh, area that I want to go into as far as like specialization and stuff like that. But EMDR is definitely on my list, high on my list, for sure, for sure. And yeah, it's just it can get heavy. It can get heavy, right? When you can, when you can really pull back the layers of the onion, when you can really see the source of the pain, right? And look it dead in the eye, right? And that's the thing. Like, gotta look it dead in the eye and tell it you will relieve the duty. You are no longer in control. I got this now. Like they say in Captain Phillips, I'm the captain now. So, but for real though, like that's pretty much what it is. Taking back control of the narrative. Okay, but see, as a man, as a black man, we got to be careful with the emotions and feelings, right? Because of how it's portrayed out there, what it is for men versus women, right? So to cry in those sessions, to cry with my wife, and I've cried in front of my wife more than any woman outside of my mama in my whole entire life. And we've only been married, what, 6 years? I'm 39. So, yeah. So that says a lot right there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm comfortable and okay. I don't feel no type of way expressing my raw feelings, crying in front of my wife or whoever for that matter, right? Because I understand the true power that comes from that. And ever since the EMDR experience, I've been the strongest I ever been when it comes to mentally and emotionally and psychologically. So I can contest that I am better after than I was before, for sure, without a doubt, right? But it was my mindset to first be like, you know what? I want to be better. I want this, right? And if it meant facing my 9-year-old self and letting them know it's okay, you know, and I mean, he literally had me talk to him like he was right in front of me, like, you know, and like, so they have safeguards, right? So he told me if you ever get too heavy or too intense, then come back to the safe zone. My safe zone was the basketball court, right? Because during that time I played basketball pretty much like 5 times a week. So that was the safe zone. If it got too intense or whatnot, I just like go to the safe zone. So that'll be my happy place, right? Quote unquote. But yeah, it gets intense. I'm talking to my 9-year-old self. I'm just saying like, yeah, man, like it's okay. Like it's gonna be okay. And as I'm doing it, I'm crying. As I'm talking to my 9-year-old self, I'm just crying. Like, and because it felt real, y'all. Like, what I'm saying? Like it really did feel real. And I don't know how that whole process works and how it gets to you like that, but I'm gonna learn though. I'm gonna learn because the feeling I felt, I ain't never felt that ever in my life. the feeling of relief and like relief of duty and just the weight that was lifted, like it was like tons and tons and tons lifted up off of me, right? So I don't know how that works, but I'm gonna find out, because if it made me feel like that, oh man, I'm gonna imagine what it can do with others, with good counseling to go along with it, and good techniques, a good therapist, right? That's what I'm striving to be. So that is definitely, um, why it fits in this endurance Olympics uh, title episode, right? Because when I put it together, it was like, oh yeah, I've just been taking knocks and hits and everything, and just keep going about my life, and acting like pretty much it didn't even happen, pretty much, right? And that can be dangerous, right? Because we all heard of people who got in car accidents or fights or whatnot, and then they didn't get medical attention, and they end up bleeding out internally, brain bleed, and they die, and they sleep, don't wake up, right? So it was the same kind of concept, right? That's how I equate it, right? I know it could kind of be a little extreme, right? But that's how I equate it, though, about how I'm going about my life. I was getting into car accidents, getting into fights, and wasn't seeking the medical attention, right? Because it didn't kill me, so it made me stronger, right? So we got to be careful with that. We got to be careful with that, especially with our mental health, because again, it goes back to, I just talked to that person yesterday, and next thing you know, gone, or a psychotic break, or in a mental hospital or in jail, right? So that's how I look at it, because it can get scary. It can get scary, but it's what we need to grow. It's what we need to grow. And I can be a better husband, a better father, a better brother, a better son, a better friend, and a better overall man because of that experience. So, um, so yeah, so that's one of the keys to my mental health journey. Major key, but it is one of them though, right? I still got a lot going on, still got things I'm battling and stuff like that, that every day, right? I got to die to my ego every day. When I tell y'all every day, there's no easy days, ain't no days off, but that's what it is, right? I have to maintain, sustain, I got to thrive. So that's what you got to do. And that's why I preach to others. So I definitely got to follow and take my own advice, which is one of the hardest things to do, ironically, but that's how life is sometimes, man. So, so yeah, so yeah, I'm going to definitely um, become the best counselor therapist I can be as I go through my program, specialize in the things I want to specialize in to help as much people as possible, and that's the goal. That's the end goal. The end goal. So hopefully this episode, makes sense with the endurance Olympics. Hope I tied it all in to where it makes sense for you. You can apply this to, whatever your situation is, whatever your, you know, life experience is. That's pretty much what I want to do. Be able to just be relatable, right? Be relatable, and just to make sure that I'm not just you know just saying things that don't like make sense. But I think I kind of conveyed my point when it comes to that. Um, but it's an interesting journey. But I enjoy the process. I enjoy the journey. That's the best part of life. It's the journey itself, the process. So I don't I don't take it for granted. We don't, And as a matter of fact, earlier today I went to the Academy of Choice school and got a chance to talk to a couple of young men. I was invited by one of my colleagues um, that I met through the counseling program. So there's opportunities to just give back and to just help youth, which is my main thing, right? Just help you, especially boys, especially young black boys, right? Somebody who looks like me. So I had an opportunity to speak to a couple of about four young men, and just talked about interpersonal skills, talked about military life a little bit, and it's all around just discovering self and why the importance of self-discovery, why the importance of self-evaluation, why is that important, right? And I can see, talking to those young men, I can see like them elevate in front of me, right? Because you could tell they're not used to people talking to them like that, or at least a man talking to them like that, or engaging them right there, right? Um, they feel heard, they feel seen, right? So you could see the their esteem and their confidence stuff rise. You can right in front of my eyes, right? And it's such a great feeling because you never know what their life story is, what they've been through, or how their day was, right? How they woke up today. You never know, but it was a good intimate setting. Um, by 45 minutes to an hour, and it was good. It was definitely good, and I look forward to doing more of things like that because you got to get the youth. You know, got to get the youth. You got to, man, because it's it's imperative we get the babies. All right, because we get the babies, then we can potentially get better adults, right? Because all adults are just grown children at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, just grown children. So, and we'll tell a child not to do something that we do as an adult. So it's like, yeah. But again, we don't know. We don't know. Everybody don't know what mental health is. You don't know if mental health is real. I didn't know until I was like 25 that mental health was real and it was a thing. And it's my first counseling encounter or therapy encounter, right? So you don't know what you don't know, right? So, but my job is to get to the youth so they don't have to be ignorant no more, right? They can be in the know, and then from that point, they can explore. They could, investigate, and that's all I want to do. Just put some things out there, throw some questions out there to get them to think for themselves and critically. All right, so that was a wonderful experience today. I had a great time, and hopefully they go forth and do great things in their life because I wish somebody had told me at their age, 16, 17, 18. Whew, I struggled, but that's why I do what I do because I know what it's like to have the low self-esteem, the low confidence, trying to hide behind in the shadows, not, have the ability to get out in front and try things and do things right. So I've been that person. I've been that man, that young man. So I can spot them out. Right. So, so that's why I'm big on self development, personal growth. I'm big on that because it was a struggle for me. Oh my gosh. But I made it and I learned so much from it. So now I can give back now. That's what I'm on right now. So I definitely love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, yeah. And I see it just started my lock process. It's been a month now, so we're gonna see, you know. But that was the ultimate plan, start my locks up. So I did that, and I've been very active in my associations and school. So like I'm getting it in, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting it in. I'm trying to find my spot, trying to find, my niche in this counseling world and in school and graduate school. So yeah, like it's definitely working. Um so yeah, at the end of the day, um we all got work to do, right? It's on us, it's on yourself to do what it is that needs to be done. Nobody owes you anything. So don't get into that mindset, okay? You owe you. That's what you can go, that's what you can start. You owe yourself love. You owe yourself an explanation. You owe yourself compassion. You owe yourself empathy, right? You, okay? You owe yourself self-discovery, self-actualization, self-realization. You owe yourself. So I'm looking outside of you. Go look in the mirror and get this work in because I'm doing it. And I tell y'all, it sucks. It hurts, but it's good though. All right. You got to take the bad with the good, right? And everything else in life. This is no different. So hopefully, next month will be not so crazy, you know. just in totality in life and economy and everything else. But we still here, right? So it means we are able and we get to do this work, right? Not that we have to do this work, we get to do this work, this self work, the shadow work, all the buzzwords, all of that, right? We do all of that. So let's get it. Okay. Because before I leave, I got to do my promotions, right? Intellectual power, okay, helps with the mental energy, circulation, all that stuff, right? So intellectualpower.net, look it up. It might be for you, all right? But again, I don't do this all by myself. All right. Class bookstore. Hey, go buy either online or go, the third ward, and if y'all local, say my TSU. All right. Class bookstore. All right. This is one of the books. This was the first book I bought from that store. So you gotta get it in. Get that reading in too. My man Zoe Williams. Try the Lighthouse. Okay. MrZoeWilliams.com. Order the book. Get that shadow work, that self work. Get it all in. I'm telling you, it's gonna aid you. All right. And of course, my big sis, Zaza Ali. ZazaAli.com. Get her workbooks. You got the Science of Sex, Science of Self. You got the Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance. Women's book, Keys of Womanhood. So these are things that aid me, throughout my journey, on top of the self-work, the meditation, the counseling techniques that I've learned, all the experiences I've had. I put them into action every single day. Okay. And that's how you get the product that you get right now. All right. Of course, y'all don't see that work because y'all don't live in my skin, but I'm just giving you what it is without fabricating anything about, trying to oversell something. Like, this is what it is. This is what I'm doing. This is what is helping me. Hopefully it helps you at the end of the day. So hopefully if you got to this part of the video, please like, share, subscribe, comment, show a little love, and like I said, we can do this together for sure. And I'll do my part, keep them coming, as long as I keep living, that's going to be my journey and my goal and my focus. Okay. So at the end of the day, y'all already know I love y'all for free, but most importantly, I can help you, but I can't save you. All right. Peace. Until next time. Love y'all.